If you're pregnant and you're hoping to avoid a C-section, there are 3 tricks that can genuinely change how smoothly your labor progresses. You won't find these in a typical birth class because they have nothing to do with the way you're breathing or the way you're pushing. They're actually all about what's happening in your pelvis during labor. And that's something most people don't even know about. I'm a pelvic health physio in maternity care, and I've been teaching these tricks to over 1,000 moms in the last 10 years, helping them go through labor with less pain and less effort. I have personally used these tricks in both of my labors, and I couldn't have done it without them. So here are the 3 tricks you need to know. First of all, you need to understand what's truly happening in your pelvis when you're in labor. Because once you understand this, all the tricks that I'll share will make so much more sense. There's basically 3 gates that your baby will need to cross before meeting you. The first gate is called the pelvic inlet. So picture your baby moving down. At some point, they're gonna have to come down into your pelvis. The bones that are here, the iliac bones and the sacrum bone, will need to move in order to increase the opening of the pelvic inlet. These bones here are going to move sideways, and the sacrum bone is going to tilt that way, so with the tailbone coming forward. Once you're fully dilated, baby is going to be right into your pelvis. They're going to rotate to have their nose towards the back. And then they're going to have to cross the second gate, which is the pelvic outlet. So the pelvic outlet is this little hole here. The sits bones or ischium bones are going to move sideways, and the tailbone going to move back. And once they have crossed that gate, the third one is your pelvic floor. So the pelvic floor muscles are around your vagina, and your baby is going to come through that opening, and then baby will come and meet you. And so what's the coolest thing about this process is that you can actually help every single one of these gates to open more smoothly with very specific techniques. So that's what we'll cover next. By the way, if you'd like to dive deeper into preparing your pelvic floor for birth, I've got a free prenatal masterclass in the description below. So let's go over how to help that gate number 1 open. And honestly, this technique has been gold for my clients. Some people said that they were able to get the epidural a little farther into the process. Some were able to labor at home for longer. Others said, I actually didn't need the epidural because of this. So it's a gold technique. You really need to learn it. Most people will ask their partner to do this for them simply because your partner will be able to apply more pressure. And I find that when women are in labor, they often want more pressure to distract from the discomfort. The technique is going to be applying pressure on that lower end of the sacrum. You want to be basically about an inch, maybe an inch and a half above the butt crack, and go on either side of the spine. You don't want to apply the pressure right in the middle because there's that bony thing here, and that's really uncomfortable to get pressure there. So basically the partner will be applying pressure like this, down, straight forward, basically. Most of the time people are in an all-fours position when we do this technique because the partner can apply a lot of weight from their body to push down. But I've had clients do it standing, leaning over a countertop. I've had clients who were sitting on a bouncy ball. You could also be side lying. So that's kind of what's nice about this technique, is that you can do it in so many different positions. Now, when do you do this technique? You do it during the contractions, in active labor, before pushing. And why during the contractions? Because this is when the show is going on. In between the contractions, you want to rest, you want to get a sip of water, maybe a little jujube to give you a little bit of energy. You want to just take a deep breath and prepare for the next contraction. Believe me, I've done it twice. Now, the second trick is going to be about helping that second gate open, or pelvic outlet. And this was one of my favorite ones in my own labor. Honestly, my partner must have been so tired of doing this. But I'm sure I was more tired than him. So it's not a competition about who's working harder, but honestly, this was so key, and I would highly recommend having this in your pushing arsenal. This technique is about opening the pelvic outlet. We know that it's in the pushing stage that this outlet will need to open. What we're going to do is find the top of the pregnant mom hip bones. So if you run your hands here, you're going to find the top of her hip bones, and then what we're going to do is apply pressure right at the top here. So on the first few inches of the hips, that's where we will want to apply pressure. So that's also called the double hip squeeze. You might have heard of that one. And there's different ways of doing this. The favorite one of myself and my clients is using the arms. So I call it the pelvic hug. So basically the partner is going to put their arms around the pelvis, normally in the all fours position, but it could also be standing and leaning over a countertop, or even in the sitting position could be feasible. And they're going to do a lever with their hand here to bring them together. There's other ways that you can do this. The partner can step over the pregnant mom when she's on all fours and use their legs to squeeze the hip bones. So it's basically going to be their knees pushing the hip bones together. So pretty great if you have a partner with really strong legs. And the other way would be using your hands, or sometimes there's going to be one person on one side pushing and a labor nurse or a doula on the other side pushing on the other hip. So that's another way of doing it. Again, we want to do this during the contractions, and in between the contractions, what do we want to do? Rest. Take a sip of water, take a breath. And this last trick is actually challenging one of the most widespread advice about birth positions, which could actually increase your risk of tearing. So I'm super excited to go over this with you because you absolutely need to know this. If you picture your pelvic floor as an elastic, and I've got one here, you'll understand everything when I show you this. What do you think is the situation that this elastic is most likely to break? I guess I should put it there because against my blue shirt it doesn't really show. But say if I put my elastic like this and I try to imagine a baby coming through this, versus if I put my elastic a little looser from the get-go and try to come through. It's pretty clear that if your elastic is a little looser to start with, it's going to be less likely to rip. So the last trick is about creating a little bit of looseness in your pelvic floor through your birth position to avoid the risk of tearing and allowing your baby to come through more easily. One of the most common advice in terms of birth position is to be in a squat, right? Let's squat, it's going to open up your hips. And I totally agree for pretty much all the stages of labor, except when your baby is crowning, because that's the same concept. Picture that your baby is crowning and you're in full squat, you're really stretching these muscles, so they're already under tension, and then a baby's head's coming through it, right? And it's been shown in the literature and the studies that squatting specifically in the crowning stage increases the risk of tearing. So what we want to do is get out of that position. And ideally, we would want to have a position where our knees are together and our legs are out. I know this might seem very counterintuitive. It's like, why would I put my legs together when I'm pushing my baby out? Doesn't make sense at all. Well, because it is removing tension in the pelvic floor, while at the same time helping that pelvic outlet to open, because when we're in that internal rotation of the hips, the sits bones actually open. So we nailed 2 of the gates out of 3 with this position. We're helping the pelvic floor to be looser, and we're helping the pelvic outlet to open. But honestly, just get out of the squat position when your baby is starting to crown is my messaging. If you can get in the position that I just described, fine. But if I'm thinking back of my own birth, I delivered my first baby in the kneeling position, and I was supporting myself on the head of the bed that was elevated. And for my second, I was standing with one leg on the bed. And honestly, I think one of the advice that's underrated is also listening to your body in this stage of labor. You know, a lot of people were trying to tell me, try squatting, and they brought the squat bar over the bed and they so wanted me to squat, and all I wanted was to stand. And that's what I said. I said, no, I want to stand up. And that's what I did for both of my births. I had a strong feeling that I should be standing up for part of my pushing stage. It's about also standing your ground and saying what you need, tuning into your women's intuition, your mama's intuition, because that is important too. I'm here to bring some perspective and some data and you know, all the data from the research. But at the end of the day, this is your birth, this is your body, and you also need to tune into your sensations. If you'd like to take your birth education to the next level and feel extra confident in the birth room, you can watch my free prenatal masterclass in the description below. And otherwise, if you'd like to learn some techniques to release that third gate, release that pelvic floor when your baby comes out, you can watch this video next.